Good morning.
Yeah, what
We got a little thing up here. Keep talking, Bob.
yeah,
Get it? Yeah.
we, we are entering the pre-holiday days. Joel and I have all along tried to give you some advice on wisdom, on how to godly uh, maneuver the holidays
Absolutely.
with your family, with the crazy traffics and all the different other things that come into it. Busy time, busy time. And so we want to talk about communication because we feel that communication is the key to successfully maneuvering through the holidays.
Yeah, and
Godly
I agree. I
communication.
agree. And if we looked at probably, and you and I have done this in the past. I haven't done it recently. If we look at the reasons marriages fail, used to be, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, it used to be communication, and it probably still is.
I would say that it still is. The
Communication, finances.
finances are the top two.
Mm-hmm.
Expectations is
Yeah.
the third one. Uh, you know, of all of the, but communication, uh, the expectation,
Mm-hmm.
the finance is all going to be confused if you're not communicating.
Yeah, and it can be communication from a combative status,
Definitely.
or it can be one of the silent treatment or no communication. So you get either side can be bad, on the relationship where you get family gatherings where nobody talks to each other, or you have family gatherings where they get combative.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or it's covered over and it's codependent and all that
Oh,
wonderful stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
but it comes back to, well, let's just read this.
Yeah.
Uh, James. Let's begin with James
Mm-hmm.
3:1. Not many of you should become teachers, my brethren, for you know that we who teach will be judged with a stricter judgment. For we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body.
Mm-hmm.
If we put bits into the mouths of horses so they obey us, we guide their whole body as
Mm-hmm.
well. Look at the ships also. They are so large and are driven by strong wind and are guided by a very small rudder wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also is the tongue a small matter. Yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by the fire of hell. For every kind of beast, bird, reptile, sea creature can be tamed, but has been tamed by mankind. But no human can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison.
Wow, that's pretty. That's pretty. As you're reading that last part about the animals, I thought, animals have tongues, but they don't have the ability to speak, and it's probably a good thing they don't have the ability to speak, or
Oh,
the animal kingdom would be just as messed up as the human kingdom.
yes. Yeah. And he goes on. From the same mouth comes cursing and blessing. My brothers, these things ought not be so. Does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, or a grapevine produce figs? Neither can salt pond yield fresh water. Wow. I mean, he nails us
Yeah,
out of the abundance of the heart. Let's do that one.
do that one. That's Luke, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Luke 6:44. Uh, I'm going to read 45. The good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of the evil treasures produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth
That's
speaks.
true. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we're just going to probably we want to do the whole gambit of communication for the next
Right.
few weeks.
Right.
But the tongue, we could probably spend the majority of time on that part. You know what I mean? So we're because the Bible talks a lot about directing the mouth.
Right.
The Book of Proverbs is one of those.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I don't know
And
how many there are, but
you know, well, there's at least, I started to say 5 major ones. But the one that got me started this
oh
morning
yeah,
was Psalm 19, 13, or 14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.
I guess we could probably say because of that last scripture there that the most important element of the tongue is being pleasing to God. I think that all that the relational stuff, that's a benefit. That's an extra. It's like the what accidental. The
Right,
essential is being because God talks about how the tongue, He sees it, He hears it, and will be judged for every idle word.
right,
Jesus says, right?
right.
And so
That's
I
right.
think that that's probably our main goal is to be pleasing to God and with our mouth.
Let's go back to James and gather a few things out of that. First of all, he says that a the tongue has great power.
Yeah, yeah.
He says it has. Uh, it's like bridling a horse to get it to. The tongue
Affects the whole
has
body of the
the
horse.
power to destroy the whole body.
Yeah. And if you think about a horse, a horse is I mean, it's bigger and stronger than you are, and yet the bit in its mouth puts you in control.
Right, right. And, we've talked about meekness and the illustration of the bit in the horse's mouth. In other words, that we have great power. And we need to bring it under control and not self-control, spirit control,
Yeah.
because self-control wanes. But the idea is, well, even a great ship, uh, there is power, but there is also the need to control uh, and to. I think you can get the idea of speak slowly here. James also said,
Be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to get angry.
"Yeah, right." This is what he's talking about with that ship. That you before you speak, before you unleash this great power, be careful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we can
Go
see,
slow.
and we can see the effects of the tongue. You and I were talking about the fact that probably we're more talky than we've ever been in a society. I mean, just because of the availability of to pull talking into our talking that's happening. Like right now, we're here at Glidewell in the upper room, and you guys are wherever you are. If anyone's listening to us, right? So,
Yeah.
right, and so we have more access to talk than we've ever had before, and it's not personal. You know what I mean? There's no connection
Right.
really there
Right.
because we're not hearing back from you. It's one sided.
Because of that, we have become jaded. One, because there's so much.
Yeah.
Two, we have become we listen but we don't hear.
Yeah.
We take in. If you ask someone what we talked about on Thursday,
Yeah.
they're going to say, "Well, I heard it, but
Yeah.
I can't remember."
Yeah, and I think that we're so used to manufactured speech, and let me explain that for a second. Manufactured speech is I'm going to tell you what I want you to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I want an outcome, and I'm going to use my rhetoric is the word we use it.
Yeah.
And so we're used to listening in sound bites and capturing these quotes. If you go into Google and you put quotes, just famous quotes about whatever, you're going to get just snippets of a person's communication. whether it be, a philosopher or whatever, right?
Right.
So I think we're used to hearing in those kind of things. So in a conversation, you may pick something out of context
Oh my goodness. See,
and destroy. So it's not just me, it's you too.
right. Uh, this context is so important
Absolutely.
because if we don't, I trust we set context this
Yeah.
morning
Yeah.
in that we're talking about communication
Yeah.
and we're talking, but yet if you only come in at halftime, then you're not going to have, unless we reiterate the context, you're not going to understand exactly, okay, why are they saying that at this time in this way?
Scrutiny. I mean, I'm even guilty of this, where you'll grab somebody says, "I want you to listen to this," and it starts in what I want you to listen to starts in 25:25. 25 minutes, 25 seconds. So you take the slider and you move it over to 25:25, and you hear the portion, and you're enraged or you are motivated or whatever, but you have not listened to anything before that. And you can you can take something that somebody said and make them into a monster because you didn't do the hard work of listening, which we'll talk about
Right.
another time.
This,
But
again, this of only catching bits and pieces,
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
bites.
Yeah,
I don't
sound
even
bites.
like that because
No.
talking points.
Talking points.
Everybody's got talking points, and they it's like they send them out in a memo
Yeah.
because everybody's using the same talk, and they may very well do that. I don't know, but yet they're taking many times out of context. Many times we're coming in at halftime and just not catching, and because of that, we are a people full of rage.
Yeah. And we speak out of that cup, right? We speak out of what we thought we heard. We try to answer based on what we think we've heard. You know what I mean? Real quick. I've been listening to this series of communications on a podcast, and it's relational in different things. And it strikes me funny that a person will start a sentence and or a question, and the person will perceive what they want,
Yes.
right? They think they're
Right.
making a point, and so they'll attack the point and not listen to the question. And so there is this element, and we destroy communication. Think about that in a holiday setting where you have a problem with Frank, and Frank gets ready to ask you a question about something, and you anticipate what Frank's going to say, or you think he's going to say something, and it
Right.
could be negative, and you retort or you reply based on that.
Right.
And then you just throw it into a war zone because you didn't use your mind with your tongue.
If we could just come together as family and not speak. I mean, just have silence. But that's not going to happen.
No.
There's going to be interaction. And I think, again, now we have, over the years, and we've been doing this a while, we have come and we have said to people, scenario, think about it. Bring Christ, bring Holy Spirit, bring Father God into it before you go.
Yeah.
And when you go in the spirit and not in the flesh, because you're only going to complicate and make worse the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then opening your mouth can be, this is what I find difficult, because I see the value of silence, but I don't live in a world where that always works.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Where you're almost compelled to speak just because of the nature of relationship.
Right.
I don't live in a monastery.
Right.
I don't live in a cave. Right.
Right. And we communicate so much of who we are to one another by our words, by our emotions, by our body language, and so forth. And that's important.
Yeah.
And but yet, I think that there are subjects that there ought to be silence on.
I agree, and I think that when you walk into a situation and you see that the tender of the situation is dried, and you just go ahead and you strike that word out and you throw that spark in that bursts the flame, that's on you. that's your fault. You shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? If you know there's
Right.
a dried tinder, it's about ready to burst. It's got gunpowder,
Right.
and you're the one that throws the spark. That's on you, right?
This is the thing that we have to also understand is the great power of our word and the ability to spread either good or bad as a match starts
Yeah.
a forest fire. I mean, a match
Oh,
starts
yeah.
take acres, thousands of acres,
Yeah.
homes and lives, and we have to realize that this. I think James, under the influence of the Spirit, is saying to us, your words have great spreading ability.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah, and I think that, when we look at the word bridle the tongue or control the tongue, sometimes we think that's automatically don't speak. Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes a nice bridled wise word, a soft answer can turn away wrath,
Right.
as the proverb says.
Definitely.
Right? And so
Right.
I think that silence isn't always the best option, and we're people who believe that you need to take time in silence. But your silence may be the worst thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a world where people are having, and in a world where people are having the expectation of communication.
Right.
I mean, if you're silent, they may think you're giving them the silent treatment because you don't like them, instead of saying, I'm not speaking because God told me not to speak, or I'm trying to bridle my tongue. You could be very pure, but
Right.
the people are expecting communication from you, and you can turn out to be it can blow up in your face.
Right. So the optimum thing is to be ready with
Yeah.
a right answer,
Yeah.
and you do not have to give your mind on everything.
Yeah, yes, I agree, and I think that if we move from James, which I don't know that we should leave the fact that taking the tongue. Maybe we should spend a little more time on taking your words seriously. I think that one thing I see is that there are people who have influence, and that when they speak, it has an effect.
Right.
Okay, there are people who have no influence, and they want their words to have an effect. So
Right.
how do we move if you're a person who doesn't have influence, that you've either people don't respect you or they don't want to listen to you, how can you get those wise words out? And I think you've got to live a character that is influential.
You have to be a servant and learner, a servant spirit coming to humble
Yeah.
and do more listening than speaking if you have no influence,
Yeah.
because they're going to you become an object of ridicule if you are not a servant and a learner.
Yeah, and I think that there are some people who have some great ideas and some great wisdom, who have jeopardized that with their way they treat people, or or they're haughty, or they're arrogant, or whatever, right? And so your character can get you in a conversation, or can keep you out of a conversation.
Right. And again, choose what is right at the right time and right words.
Yeah.
That's tact.
Yeah.
Right time, right words.
Yeah, and what I was thinking about the person who, okay, so you're at Thanksgiving, and people are talking in a circle, and you want to give your ideas, and you feel like you're always shut down or taken over, and you get frustrated, and then you say whatever, and it's awkward. I'm thinking about people like that, and maybe what I mean, that, and how do you change that? You change that by working on your working on your influence, loving people, like you said, servant and learner, and then when you give input, it has value because you've churned on it, you've thought about it. You're not irritated. You're not trying to hey, you got to listen to me. Nobody likes that kind of attitude.
No, and that attitude can be conveyed by body language, not just the words coming out of your mouth, but your body language toward people and so forth, your expressions on your face, etc. All these do is set a stage for you to be further ridiculed.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
need to watch it.
And I think that there's also, you and I have gained skills and learned skills in communication. And I think, and we have tools that we use. There are some people who are naturally humorous, okay? And so if you're not a naturally humorous person, don't use humor,
Yeah,
right? You
I
got to know your heart. You got to know
right.
yourself.
Uh, the times that I've been humorous, I fell into it by accident.
Well, you're a funny guy though. No, you got
Well,
a
I
good
felt
sense.
like that. That you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
I've said things that were awkward and not funny
yeah,
because I didn't really churn them through the old.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Again, the power of the word, the spoken word. Let's go back to the Tower of Babel
Hmm.
and the thing that God did there.
Hmm.
Uh, he confused what?
Their tongues.
Their tongues.
Yeah.
Because he said they are unified,
Hmm.
they can do anything.
Hmm.
We're going to have to stop the power
Oh
of the
yeah.
tongue.
That's a very good point because if you think about on the other side, our enemy, if the enemy understands that if the church comes together and learns to communicate and speaks correctly and uses the same language, we're invincible.
Right.
And he's going to try to do the same thing, confuse tongues.
Right.
Where God used it for man not to steep himself into idolatry, the enemy can use it to keep us from following Jesus.
You know, I think every communication class ought to study Orwell's 1984
Yeah, yeah.
because their communication is the big weapon,
Oh yeah,
if you
absolutely.
will. The newspeak and all the different
Yeah, the
kinds of
slogans. See, we're big into the slogans and stuff. I think sometimes we're over sloganed. Where people, the slogans are just something we throw out because you have to. You know what I mean? But I think you're right. I think that the language is a very powerful tool to change the hearts of people, and so we've got to be careful with it and not use it manipulatively.
my my generation uh, used a lot of cliches. We
Hmm.
still do. And it's interesting to me that language ages.
Hmm.
Language is in
Yeah,
revolution,
evolution. Yeah.
evolution, and the cliche that I might use today. In fact, I was talking to a guy at Walmart, standing in line, and he was saying, he had had an interaction with a younger person, and he had used one of the cliches concerning an actor,
Hmm.
and they said, "Who?
Yeah.
Who's that?"
Yeah.
See, because that loses its power
Hmm.
because it's aged.
Yeah, well, it loses its relevance, and
Yes.
okay, so here we are. This is another challenge here. Okay, so you have the holiday challenge of in awkwardness of communication that somebody's not very good communicator. But then you have the gap in language as far as even in our own language. We're talking about English. You and I were talking about the fact that you know. We're not even using grammar anymore. You know what I mean? Grammar is,
Right.
uh, it's lesson, and so it's harder to communicate because we're not putting commas where commas should be, even in the spoken language.
Right, right. We run things together
Hmm.
where, you
Hmm.
know, the spoken language has become as shortened
Hmm.
as the written
Oh
language.
yeah, sure. And texting hasn't helped.
Oh, texting has
How do you communicate an emoji? You know what I mean? It's well.
well, you've
Okay.
got the little funny
Okay, but that's
faces.
that's we were listening to Christy and I were listening to what is it? Gen Z? Is that Gen Z? Gen Z? Generation Z?
Oh, yes,
Yeah. Okay.
right,
So we were
yeah.
listening to a couple of them talk, and they were talking about how the proper emoji and the proper like if you text in all caps, you're angry, right? And so
Right.
it may be that we don't understand that or whatever. So I see it as communicate as the language changes, so does our ability to communicate.
Yes, and
From age to age.
right, and my generation, when we're together, we can communicate, and then we say it's hard to communicate to younger people.
Hmm.
Uh, it's
Well,
not
yeah,
really.
oh, no.
But I mean, we come with the expectation that their filter is going to be same as mine.
Oh yeah, and it almost over sexualized words
Oh,
can
like
really throw.
right. See, my vocabulary, I have to constantly look at my vocabulary
Yeah.
because I don't want to say something that has lost connotation, has a new connotation,
Yeah.
which borders on profanity.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you could even I did that Wednesday night on accident. I said something that and everybody's laughing. I'm even laughing, and I was totally innocent, but it has changed. It has evolved. So
The synonym for hot dog in today's.
oh yeah.
And people look at me and they all are really laughing.
Frank, it's a bad word.
Yeah, I can't,
Yeah. So
But again,
these make challenge these make our communications very challenging.
yes, it does. And it's so challenging that many in my generation aren't communicating.
Yeah, and I think that's
They've shut themselves off in their homes.
well, that's the design. If you look at 1984, that was the design. To break up people, to keep people from being unified. You know what I mean? So there's design. We understand there's design in language that is diabolical from a spiritual perspective, and then from a political perspective for certain. Newspapers and websites now are geared to make you think a certain way according to their language.
When I took my first communication class, we talked about glittering generalities.
Yeah.
We talked about propaganda, and all of these different methods of twisting communication. And I see those things constantly,
Yeah.
constantly in commercials and also in newscasts.
Yeah.
It's
But I think we also see them on Thanksgiving. We see them on Christmas. We see them on New Year's Eve. We see the same in a microcosm in our relationships and family relationships and friends, and even in church. Using language to manipulate people to get something you want or some kind of desired outcome.
the having a hearing challenge when we are communicating and there's so much background robs us. That's when I have to look at the person and try to read their lips.
Absolutely.
But now you get the television going on Thanksgiving. Everybody wants to watch the football. You get all of these different things going. You got the little kids and you got the baby crying. Communication in that environment is very difficult. You're not going to
absolutely.
catch. I only catch 71% anyway. But
Yeah, but if you're okay, so you come into a situation, and I think that eventually we'll phase into this today, but you come into one of those situations where and you hear uncle talking, and they're looking at you. You can't really make out. You hear a snippet of their conversation, and now you have implanted yourself into that scenario. They're talking about me, or they're talking about something that's distasteful or whatever, and you may make a value judgment upon those two guys based upon a tiny little section of what they're talking about. Does that make sense?
right.
And therefore, I think that you're right. I think the challenge is to be honest and to be free from all that and say, even if they are talking about me, I'm not going to let it get to me. Do you know what I mean? Or confront and ask, hey, you guys talking about me? But that's challenging.
I had a psychology teacher one time walked into class and said, do you know you all the biggest bunch of narcissists? He said, every time you walk into a group, you immediately think they're looking at you.
Yeah.
He said, that is evidence that you are a narcissist.
Oh, I believe all of us have an element of that in us. In some it's more clinical than others, but I mean, we all Narcissus is the myth where the guy finds the pool. There's this pool, and he catches his reflection, and he can't get away from the pool.
No, he falls in love with it.
And then he sits there. I think he even dies. because the pool, looking in the pool. And so it's this idea that that we love our own reflection, we love our own life. But you know what I was thinking the other day? We went to Carol's funeral. One of our family members passed away, and I saw a picture of her mother, Mrs. Corlett.
Yes.
Right. And
Bless her heart.
yeah, and I saw Aunt Marie, the picture of Aunt Marie, and then there's
Yeah.
Uncle Lester with his nose. I could see his nose.
Yeah.
Couldn't see the full thing, but I saw his nose. And Bill, and I remember in that little living room, stuffed full of people on Thanksgiving. The smoke level was like,
You had to cut it with a
yeah, I
knife.
mean it was bad, and but the volume was just, I mean the talking was just, I mean the Childers and the Fritchets, wow, I mean you're talking the decimal level was up here, and here's little Joey trying to watch the football game, glued to the TV underneath the smoke layer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so hearing, you're right, in that environment, how do you communicate effectively? You know what I mean? How do you catch everything? You know what I mean? I think it's James in a box to look at.
Right. And 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 now that's what you're going to be facing, perhaps not as exaggerated as
Well,
ours were.
well, but
Ours was
Myth-
just really, I mean, the decibel level was damaging to your ears.
here's another element that I want to throw into. We're looking at, you have the upper layer of the noise, the smoke, the laughter, everything, right? You have that. Then you have the underlying level, where somebody doesn't like somebody else, or Aunt Marie is angry at Grandma, and Grandma's mad at and now you bring those dynamics in, and you have another atmosphere. You've got the outer atmosphere, and then you have the inner atmosphere,
Right.
relational.
The dynamics are just overwhelming.
Yeah,
And
it's a miracle we have any kind of.
It's
yeah.
a miracle that
Yeah.
we all left hugging one another. That there wasn't murder.
It's true.
But again, they brought so much baggage.
Yeah, yeah.
My family were notorious for baggage from the year to that place, and they had to sort the baggage.
It's almost like they brought that with the Christmas presents.
Yeah,
Because they really didn't want to give a gift. They wanted to give they wanted to get, what you did to me in March. You know what I mean?
National Lampoon Christmas.
Yeah.
The Christmas.
Yeah.
That is the if you want to see family dynamic, if you want to see miscommunication, if you want to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
confusion and chaos,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name. Christmas
Vacation. Yeah.
Vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we're all skirting around is we all skirt around the truth. You know what I mean? And I think that, we can't speak the truth. In fact, I watched this one little snippet of a movie the other day. They have a family gathering and the mother's drunk. There's no inhibition. There's no propriety anymore. And so
Right.
she says what she wants to say. And, they respond to her. And she says this, and I think it's so profound. Of all that crappy little scene there, this was the most profound. She said, people are antagonized by the truth. And I'm sitting there thinking, that is a profound statement, because we have all these runarounds for the truth, and we don't even know how to speak it correctly. And I think that this is the hard part of the tongue, is that we want to say something, but we have all these inhibitions. And when those inhibitions are removed, we'll say what we want to say.
Oh yeah, and see, this is what happened with aging. The older generation, lose their inhibition.
Yeah.
And I think that that is out of frustration.
Sure.
They won't. They just have.
They're tired of playing the
They're
game.
tired of playing the game, and they're just going to succumb and let it all hang out. And very dangerous. Very dangerous.
And I
for,
think-
for a relationship.
Oh yeah, and church and everything. I mean, we have these underlying, and this is where I think it would be a good segue, because in order to control the tongue, Jesus gives us the truth, and then the psalmist in Psalm 19.
Yes.
And I think that what we want to end up today, and maybe we need to spend a lot of time on, is the fact that if your heart is full of this stuff, it's going to come out of your mouth.
Right.
Eventually the propriety, the rules will break down
Yes.
of the group.
Right.
I mean,
And that's when the chaos begins. But it comes back to Psalm 19,
yeah.
13. He says, "Let the meditation of my heart and the words of my mouth be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer." Now, what connotation are we going to put on that? What spin? What's he talking about there? Is he talking about prayer? Yes.
Yeah.
But does that not move into
Absolutely.
everything?
Absolutely.
If every idle word is judged, and
Yeah.
Jesus said that, then I ought to weigh and check the meditation of my heart.
Absolutely.
Because out of the abundance of my heart, my mouth is going to speak.
Yeah.
And if I'm filled with anger and frustration and
Offense.
flesh, I'm going to puke it out.
Yeah, and I think that there are things that we build into, like a church setting, a family setting. There's expectations, there's rules. Maybe the family rule is that there's no outbursts of anger. You have to be a calm person. Parents say go to your room and deal with it. You got the other family that it's okay to burst out. But let's go back to this family over here. So your holidays, everybody's pretending, they're playing, they're masked. But let's say Grandpa is done with that. He's played that all his life. Now he doesn't care anymore. He comes in and says whatever he wants, and the whole family falls apart. When everybody is just playing a game. I mean, you got to quit looking at the surface level of your own self and look down into the deep parts of your heart and be honest with yourself.
See, this is the sad part, I think, is the unwritten rules.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And each family of origin have them.
Sure.
And so you're bringing all of these different families of origin into your life, and their unwritten rules, and you violate that rule, the people that have made the rule, unconsciously perhaps, are going to be angry.
Yeah, and there's some.
You broke my rule.
Yeah, and there's some really dangerous tools that we use. Like sarcasm, ridicule. These things are dangerous because they become, they hide injuries, they hide hatred. You know what I mean? And so we use these for fun. I mean, we make fun of each other. If you can't handle somebody making fun of you, then don't make fun, right? Because it's a game people play. You know what I mean? And so, you go into a holiday situation where people are sarcastic and you're really angry and you're really tired of it. Then it moves beyond that to something else because the heart is so seething and the heart is so full of offense. It's going to come out of your mouth and it's going to be mean and it's not going to be of the Spirit. God's not going to be pleased with it. It doesn't matter if the group says, "Oh, yay." It matters about what God thinks, right? We go back to that.
The meditation of my heart, the words of my mouth be acceptable.
In your sight. So
yes.
he's watching.
David understood that his heart and what was in his heart was going to eventually come out the mouth.
Yeah, come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, that what is the condition of your furnace? I mean, what is the condition of that's inside of you, the basement, so to speak? What have you got in there? Inventory is so powerful. In AA, they talk about, there's the step 4 and 5. They go through that inventory, and they pull out. They go into the basement. They get the monster out. They get the beast out, right? But then you look at step. I think it's like 7 or 8. They do that every day. So they're not just cleaning out the basement of yesterday. They're making sure the basement is still in order. And I think that there's a lot of people, families, that have never cleaned the basement out.
Right. And because of that, anything added into that only causes more problem. more confusion. We are hoarders of thought
That's a very that is a powerful statement right there. That is true.
because we don't want to let go of something that has had some meaning to us, either negative or
Yeah.
positive.
You know,
We hang on to it.
sure. I think about the first time I went into Grandma and Lee's basement at the Rock House. That thing was creepy, by the way.
Yeah, what?
They had those back rooms, you know, and,
Yeah.
and that's where I uncovered Satan or Satan, Santa.
Freudian slip.
I moved this thing, and there was the the Santa that she had at Christmas. It was like life size.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it always reminded me of John Barton. But anyway, so I pulled that thing back because I didn't expect Santa to be there, you know. So, but think about that from a family perspective. You know what I mean? You know, everybody accepts this. They accept it. You know, let's say that you have 20 people in a family and 19 accept that. They shut the door. They play like there's nothing down there.
Yeah.
But you get the one rebel.
Yeah.
They're the outcasts because they keep opening up the door to the basement and uncovering the family crap.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they're the bad ones.
Oh yeah.
You know, which actually they're the super people because they want to get in there and they want to get it out because they know it's not right.
This comes back to what are you placing
Yeah,
in your heart,
I agree.
and if you're placing the culture by means of sight and hearing, you are missing. You're going to only be able to communicate the culture.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're in the Word of God, you're walking with God, you're declaring the Word of God, then you are speaking out of the Spirit,
yeah,
or should be able to.
yeah. Well,
See,
and I think that if you look at you go into an addict of a loved one, a family member, should be treasures. You know what I mean? There should be. You open up the hope chest. You
Yeah.
get newspaper clippings. You get awards. You get these things that are a blessing, right? And you're like, oh, I'll never get rid of this chest because it's got my grandfather's wonderful treasures. Okay. On the other hand, you flip it open and there's all kinds of things that bring shame, and you say, I want to get rid of that. A lot of times, people will keep either one. They'll keep the nasty treasures, but they'll also, on one hand, they'll keep the stuff that keeps the crap going on,
right.
right? When we should get rid of that and keep the things that are the real treasure. And that's what you're saying. The
Right.
real treasure is the things of God, the things of love, the things of mercy, blah blah.
One of the benefits of getting older is that you forget some of the junk.
Yeah.
And,
Unless you got somebody that's there to help you
well,
remind you. Yeah.
to remember it. But the thing of it is, you have repented of it, you have dealt with it, and it's over. And you come back to realizing you've been forgiven.
Yeah.
And the regrets you harbor regret will lead into frustration because we are not made to harbor regret.
Oh, absolutely.
Or are we made to live in the past?
Yeah, and listen, guys. You have all injury, all crime has to be punished. That is the law of the universe. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're not letting go of something you've done, and you're not letting go of something somebody else done, there has to be there's an innate desire for punishment.
Yes.
Okay, either to punish yourself or punish somebody else. Okay,
Right.
and where does that come out? It comes out of your mouth
Mouth. Because
because it can't come out of here.
no, it's out of it. It's coming out of your heart. Now the sad thing is that if you continue to hoard and harbor that thought, it will grow because it will grow into. It could grow into
Absolutely.
this.
And it does a lot. That's murder. I mean,
right,
murder
yeah.
comes out of the heart. Jesus
Right,
said that, right? I mean,
right.
in fact, he said that murder comes out of hatred, but also the words, because he said, if you say fool, thou fool,
Yeah.
right? So, you're right. It goes from the basement. It comes out of the mouth, but eventually, if there's no satisfaction, it will come out in the violence.
Right. And so, again, to prepare for the holidays, the holy days, if you will, is to to deal in forgiveness
Absolutely.
and repentance and be ready. Now, that doesn't guarantee that anything's going to change.
No, because other people may still have the
They
stuff
may
there.
have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem, but
Yeah.
you will atmosphere differently. Now, if you come with that baggage, you're going to atmosphere resentment. It's going to come out of you like a bad case of the measles.
Oh, sure. And if and there are things that are habitual that I think that Christians don't really um, we don't really look at habit as an obstacle. It is. It's a tremendous obstacle because it's the way that you've learned to communicate. You know what I mean? So can I use sarcasm? So if sarcasm is the flavor of the family, right? And you're like, I'm not going to do it this year. My heart is clean. Blah, right? And you walk in and they start throwing the roasting. People like to roast each other, and I don't mind. I think roasting is hilarious, but you get back into that, that habit, and so it's hard to face a habit with your mouth. You know what I mean? To beat a habit, you got to go. You may have to go 4 or 5 Christmases or holidays in taming that
Right.
through the Holy Spirit to be able to break it.
Right. And then praying for others that they
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
you see something in them, with your being sarcastic or snarky about it is not going to change them.
No.
But the Holy Spirit, hey, let's pray. And, I mention prayer a lot to people because I believe it's the power of God on the earth
Oh, absolutely.
and to do things.
Yeah.
And they kind of slough it off like, prayer. But if we will begin to pray now for people, we might see you, if you pray, you could see a real difference.
Yeah, and I think
And you've got time to do it.
I think that it's hard because prayer is an act of humility, and I think that if there's certain things that God has been working on my life, and one of those is humility, because pride out the mouth is it's funny. You can tell when a person is prideful and arrogant by what comes out of their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so there are people who are insufferable. You sit and you listen to them, and all they want to talk about is themselves. All the conversation always comes back, and what we tend to do is we tend to react to that because we are also prideful, and their arrogance is causing us to feel less or inferior. And so what we have to do is we have to maintain an attitude of humility, even though we're around somebody who is helping us in our humility, if you know what I mean. And I think if you go into holidays and you've got a competition, brother and sister, or sister and sister, or whatever, that's going to play out of your mouth. It's going to come out of your mouth, and everybody's going to know it, but you don't because you're not aware of what you're saying.
We believe so much of the time, erroneously, that if I pray before I walk in there for God to keep me humble, that I'm going to be able to do that. But we need to be praying the whole time.
Well, yeah, and I also think that in addition to that, because you're on the spot is very challenging, but I'm going to say when no one is around, when our daily practice is humility.
Yes.
I mean, in everything, because then we have a habitual humility rather than a situational one.
Right.
Because if I'm so if Thursday is generally Thanksgiving. So let's say that the week before Thanksgiving, the Thursday before, I'm prideful, I'm arrogant, I'm selfish, and I do that. And then on Wednesday, I decide to start praying for humility.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah. I'm not saying that God can't do miraculous work, but if you wait that long, and then you're not really believing that.
I don't think you're prepared.
That the Master can do that.
I think what we need to focus in on is the constant prayer of Psalm 19.
Yes.
Where I'm in a status. That's my status. Is I'm watching my heart. I'm watching what I'm thinking on. You know what I mean? Because if I'm thinking about Thanksgiving in October, man, by the time Thanksgiving comes, you're done. If you're
Right.
not preparing yourself daily.
Right. Uh, and I think again, so much of the time, we believe I can wing it.
Oh,
I can do this. But
that's
when,
pride.
it's pride. And when you get in the heat of the battle, uh, you have to realize I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that it's the training. I'm learning that there's because you live in a real world with real people, you have to practice these things all the time. It's not just for holidays. Do you know what I mean? It's when you're with people, you're butting against up everybody else's self,
Right.
everybody else's little god. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're little gods trying to fight for our kingdoms.
Right.
In everything we do, and you have to opt out of that system.
Right. Clash of Kingdoms.
It's exactly Clash of Kingdoms.
And, I just wish that, I pray that we could all come to understanding that His kingdom is the kingdom,
Yeah.
not me,
Oh, sure.
not my kingdom.
Sure. It's very challenging because I think that's, to me, and I'm really coming to the grips that that's original sin, is the fact that not that Adam ate the tree, that was the physical,
Right.
the heart was, I want to be God, I want to be like God.
Right.
And I think that is the sin. Not that we would say that, you wouldn't, and I wouldn't say I want to be God,
No.
but we want to control. We want ourselves to be king.
And the minute we do that, then we're out of control
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because He is the control.
Mm-hmm. And if you have 20 people who are all trying to vie for control, and holidays are terrible because we all come, you and I've talked about this probably last year, I think. We talked about the expectations from past, like when we're kids, we try to bring those into our present. And man, you get a family that everybody has their different expectations. It's going to pop out in their mouths, and they're going to say things, they don't like Aunt so-and-so's pecan pie. So everybody's going to pop off and say things, and it's going to be funny for a while, but Aunt so-and-so is going to be upset. It's just, it's a nightmare.
Again, the things that make you angry are probably evidence of expectation not surrendered.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you bring an expectation and it's not fulfilled, you will be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, you must give your expectations to the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not expect anything. And if anything happens, you're grateful because you didn't expect it.
Yeah. I read something the other day that got, the whole God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. But I read another one I thought was really interesting about that God actually put 2 fences in our mouth, 2 walls.
Yes. Yes.
Not in our ears, but in our,
Yeah.
we've got a canal here. We've got you got 2 fences on this hole.
Yes. And I think, again, when James talks about hearing,
Yeah.
be quick to hear.
Yeah, and I think we'll do that next week. What do you think?
The listening,
we'll do listening next week.
element of communication. Now, I don't know where we have exhausted this subject. I don't know where we've even gave it a good visit. I don't know.
One discussion I would have liked to had. Maybe we can do this next week instead of hearing. Is I wanted to deal. I wanted to get to, and I'm not saying I'm disappointed. Don't get me wrong, because I think we've done a good job. I want to talk about speaking the truth in love.
Oh, why don't we just plan on that?
Let's just do that. Come back next week. We're going to talk about.
Can you remember that? Because
I think if you guys will help, and if that's because I think that is convoluted as other parts of communication.
Well, we danced around it today because we've talked about the criticisms and etc. but we didn't give any indication of how to live in that.
Yeah, and I think that we're setting up for next week is that you and I were discussing that it's a very complicated thing. In fact, I don't know that I've ever preached on it, how to speak the truth in love properly. You know what I mean? Looking at it from a non-codependent way, a non-manipulative way. It's going to be a challenge. We'll come back and join us next week. Share it with somebody that we're going to try to tackle this idea of speaking the truth in love.
Amen. And I be praying about the holidays coming.
Absolutely.
Prepare.
Yeah, you're looking very festive, by the way.
Well,
You've got
I matched the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the nice pumpkin color there.
This is my fall.
I like it. It's nice. I'm not like saying
it's
anything bad about it.
too.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying.
I
See,
know.
we're miscommunicating.
No, not at all.
Good, because I think it looks good on you.
right,
It's your color.
I take it as a compliment.
Well, you should, because that's what I meant it. See, there we go. See, that's how we talk. See, a lot of
Yeah.
times we don't talk.
But again, I had no other expectation of what you were saying.
See,
I
that's
understood
nice.
exactly what.
See,
you
that's
were saying.
nice. That's good. I don't typically roast my father. That's not really our dynamic to roast each other. I get roasted a lot. I don't mind. It's like Dale Mitchell used to tell me when I'd say, "Why does everybody pick on me?" He goes, "Joel, you're like a big booger. You're pickable." That's what he said to me. Can you believe it? Yeah, my youth minister, great guidance. Just accept it. So I just accepted it. So, but anyway, that's not really a relation.
Love it.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's what we're talking about, expectations.
Right.
It's not how we do things, and therefore, there's not that baggage. We don't have that baggage between us.
Well, this will be interesting
Yeah.
as we put this together and come back next week.
I like it. I like it a lot.
God bless you.
Thanks for
and keep
joining us today. Have a good day.
you.